Good morning. I will now call to order the April 7, 2022 Clackamas County Commissioners' Business Meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today, Stephen Madcore, County Council. In his first meeting as clerk to the board, welcome Tony Mayernick to his new role. Shannon Bays, who was serving as clerk to the board, remains on our staff in the role she was hired for, which is Administrative Services Manager. So thank you, Shannon, and welcome, Tony. With that roll call, Commissioner Schultz.
Here.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Schroeder.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Smith.
Here. Thank you, Gary. I will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually as well. The general public comment will be taken at the usual time on the agenda. The public is welcome to sign up to testify. Please use the blue cards and put them in the basket at the small table on your left, just inside the door as you enter. Registration for public comment via Zoom is available online as well. We will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Orders will be enforced during this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. Gary, can you tee up the first item?
Yes, Chair Smith. First, we have a presentation proclaiming April 2022 as Grange Month. This will be a proclamation for your consideration and approval. Caroline Hill from County Administration will be the main staff presenter, along with some special guests. But Caroline, if you'd come forward, please, and the team, and go ahead and introduce everyone, Caroline.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you, Caroline. Please introduce yourself.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners, County Administrator. I'm Caroline Hill from County Administration, and I am here today to introduce you to Georgina Barragan from Redland Grange 796, which is one of the 16 Granges in Clackamas County. And she's here to talk about National Grange Month. Go ahead, Georgina.
Thank you for your time. It's an honor to be here. Our Granges are grassroots organizations. They've been around for over 100 years. Redland Grange, who I represent as the president, has been active since 1932. So we open up for the community. We have all kinds of activities and stuff for the farmers and the small businesses out there in our area. We have farmers markets. We have excuse me, a little nervous here, but we have all kinds of functions, blood drives. We have a food pantry every Thursday put on by loved one who are our Grange members as well. And we service probably every week, we service 200 to 300 people at that food pantry. We open up to all kinds of community service, and we are a central point for the community. When we had the fires 2 years ago, we had more than 300 of the community people or members of the community there to speak with the fire department and the police department and everything else. And we want to stay open to the communities or to our community and be a place to go in case of emergencies or for information or any of that. And again, just make people aware of who we are and why we're there. When I was a younger person, I've been in the Grange since I was a little girl, took an absence from it for a while, but you know, a lot of people in the area, well, the Grange, you have to be, you know, they treated it like it was, you know, a clique or maybe even a cult, I'm not quite sure. But now that we've opened it back up for the community to see who we are, we've come a long way, and we plan on staying for a long, long time to help out our community, support agriculture, support issues coming forth to our government and everything else, to make sure that we're keeping the farmers and agriculture where it should be in Oregon, one of our number one economic abilities. That's about it.
Thank you
So-
very much. There is also a state Grange Association, correct?
Excuse me?
There is also a state Grange Association.
Yes, ma'am. Oregon State Grange.
And is there a national organization?
Yes. Yes, there is. And we are, the State Grange and the President, Susan Noah, they are very involved in the state. National Grange as well. We just had a national summit at Sunnyside Grange, which is in our county,
Sure.
last week.
A national summit in our own county.
Yes.
Wow.
And we haven't had the State Grange Convention, I believe it was 4 years ago, that we had in Malala. And then I think we've got something coming down the road again in Clackamas County, but they love coming here, and they love our hospitality.
I remember the National Grange Association in Malala. I was a little bit involved in that and talked to the folks, and that was a lot of fun. So you say your Grange was in inception since 1932, and that was the year my dad was born. Little fun fact I'll take home to him, and he'll just laugh. And I've been a Grange member, like you, most of my whole life, and I took breaks, and I don't want to do this. You know how it is. But it's nice if we can bring along the younger generations to do this. Is there any comments from my colleagues? Commissioner Schultz.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in Oregon, and especially in Clackamas County, who's involved with the Granges. They are, and have been for many years, essentially our community centers throughout the county. And I know whenever I go to a Grange for whatever event, I always find it very warm and welcoming. And I look forward here in the next few weeks to the Boring Grange strawberry waffle breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Granges are famous for putting on good meals, and we're proud of that. You don't go away hungry, and you're very satisfied with the meal that's been presented to you. So, yeah, we are very, in the Grange, for me, it's family. We come together, we all have a common ground. We all have, our intent is to help the community preserve agriculture and just take care of one another, be there for somebody in need. And we thrive to do that. We thrive to accomplish that.
Great. We have a couple commissioners that would like to make some comments. Commissioner Savas, you're up next.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge all the good work that you all do, and just realize there's over 100 years of history and really part of the fabric of what our country's all about, right? Coming together as a community and just thinking about, those times, whatever those needs may be. And the Grange was a place of gathering, a place of community. And so, again, just the fabric of our country. And I just think it's just great that here today, we still have our Granges across this country. So thanks to everyone who keeps that going and maintains the buildings and provides the services to the community for all the very reasons we originally started out doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fisher, got tongue-tied.
That's right. Thank you, Chair Smith. Wonderful to see you today and friends in the audience. I am the daughter of a produce buyer, and so when I was a little kid, every Saturday, my favorite thing was to my dad would drink his cup of coffee at the Carol's restaurant, and I would get my pancakes. And then we would traipse out very early to go out to the different farms all around the area. And I just developed, as a child, a deep love and respect for agriculture, the smell of the dirt. I can smell the dirt when it smells really good, and I like that. It gets me really excited. I am so proud of our commission. We have what is called Performance Clackamas here, Performance Clackamas County Plan, and one of our goals this year is to, by 2026, 10% increase in food production and food production acres from agricultural land in Clackamas County. So this is our plan, this is the direction that the county wants to go, this is what the board says is important, and it's a value, it's a deep-rooted value in Clackamas County, and celebrating April as Grange Month is an important part of that, so thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Schroeder.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here today with you guys, and I just want to tell you some of the best meals I've ever had has been at the Grange. And what date is that strawberry breakfast? I don't want to miss that.
I think it's this Sunday.
Oh, it's this Sunday?
It's this Sunday.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to try and make that. That sounds like, yeah, I don't want to miss it.
And
Yeah.
also, an open invitation to all of you. Our farmers market starts May 1st and runs the first and third Sunday of the month.
And that's at Redland Grange.
At Redland Grange. And we go from 10 to 3. And we have some wonderful, wonderful vendors there that you can buy handmade soaps to caramel corn. So again, we would love to see you there. And again, enjoy the atmosphere. We're all family.
Great. Caramel corn is one of my favorites. Well, thank you for your comments. Commissioner Savas, I believe you're up.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to read the proclamation declaring April 2022 as Grange Month in Clackamas County. Whereas in 1867, the Grange has been a grassroots movement for the benefit of American families and local communities, and whereas Grange programs are family-oriented, beginning with Junior Grange for children of ages 4 through 13 for the purpose of getting children involved with all their community, with agriculture, and with good citizenship, and whereas Grange activities support personal development, leadership seminars, and foster a wide range of useful skills and abilities for personal growth through social, cultural, and educational programs, and whereas Grange members attend public meetings, inform themselves of local, state, and national issues, and speak on behalf of those working in agriculture, producing food, fuel, and fiber, and whereas members of the 16 active Granges in Clackamas County ignite a passion in the community for service and involvement and outcomes of Grange advocacy that are felt by nearly every citizen of Clackamas County today. Now, therefore, the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Grange Month in Clackamas County. We urge the citizens of the county to recognize and participate in Grange activities and support Clackamas County Granges, dated this 7th day of April 2022.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Any further comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proclamation that April 2022 is Grange Month.
Second.
Commissioner Scholl has moved that Grange is April is Grange Month through the proclamation, and Commissioner Savas has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Tony, please call a poll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Zavas?
Aye.
Commissioner Schroeder?
Aye.
Commissioner Schultz?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. I want to thank the Grange people for coming in and doing this work for us today. Gary, what's up next?
Do you want to have a photo opportunity with our Grange folks?
That's right, we do,
Chair?
Commissioners. We get to come down, and they're going to move these stanchions out of the way for us. And we will smile.
Oh, we can do that.
That's the first time in 2 years.
couple here. I think we're good. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Okay.
So, Mark, which Grange is having a strawberry thing on this Sunday?
I'll check. I'll double check. Boring.
It's actually June. The
Boring
one's
is
in June.
coming, but I'm not sure when it is. I'll double check. Somebody said it was this Sunday, but Boring, I'm not sure it's this Sunday, but I'll get back to you on the date.
Okay, I'd like to.
Emily has the information.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that. Gary, what's next?
Thank you, Chair. Next, Commissioners, you have 3 public hearings. The first public hearing is approval of a Board Order 2022-30 for the annexation to Clackamas River Water CL-009. This is a public hearing. Ken Martin is our county's boundary consultant. He will present. Ken, please come forward.
Excuse me.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is an annexation to Clackamas Water District. It's unusual because most of the annexations you've been seeing are to one of your service districts. This is an independent district. This is a very small piece of property that needs water service. It's in the south part of the district. The district has a water line that can serve the property, and we'd recommend approval.
Okay. Do commissioners have any clarifying questions or comments before I open up the public comment portion? Seeing none, I will now open the public hearing for public testimony. I will take the first person in the room. I don't see anybody in the room wanting to testify on this hearing. Tony, do we have anybody online?
I do not have any registered participants. If anyone is on Zoom but did not have a chance to register ahead of time but would like to testify, please raise your hand. I will call on the registered participants first and then raised hands in the order they were received. Chair Smith, I do not have any hands raised.
Thank you, Tony. I will now close the hearing on this matter and will welcome any questions or comments from commissioners. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval of Board Order 2022-30 for the annexation to Clackamas River Water CL-009.
Second.
Commissioner Schroeder has moved approval of the annexation to Clackamas River Water, and Commissioner Fisher has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Tony, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Vass,
Aye.
Commissioner Schroeder,
Aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Gary, what's next?
Next, the second public hearing is approval of a Board Order 2022-31 for the annexation to Tri-City County Service District CL21-011. This is also a public hearing. Ken Martin will present.
This is an annexation to one of your county service districts. This is the service district that serves the 3 cities of West Lynn, Oregon City, and Gladstone. This is in the West Lynn area, and as a requirement to get service from the district, whenever a property is annexed into a city, it also has to annex into the district. That's what this is. It's just a formality, really. This is a single lot with a single house on it, and we'd recommend approval.
Thank you, Ken. Do commissioners have any clarifying questions or comments? Seeing none, I will now open the public hearing for public testimony, and I will take the first person here. I see none. Tony, do you have anybody online who would like to testify?
I do not have any registered participants. If anyone is on Zoom but did not have a chance to register ahead of time and would like to testify, please select the raise hand feature. Chair Smith, I do not have any hands raised.
Thank you very much. I will now close the public hearing on this matter and will welcome any questions or comments from commissioners. May I have a motion?
I move for approval of Board Order 2022-31 for the annexation to Tri-City County Service District CL 21-011.
Seconded.
Commissioner Schroeder has moved for the annexation to Tri-City County Service District. Commissioner Schultz has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, would you take the poll?
Commissioner Schroeder,
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioners. Gary, what's up next?
And thank you, Ken. Next, your third and final public hearing today is approval of a proposed Community Development 2022 to 2026 Consolidated Action Plan and 2022 Action Plan. This is a public hearing for Community Development, a division of Health, Housing, and Human Services. Rod Cook is the Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services, and Mark Soroy is the Manager for Community Development. Please go ahead, gentlemen.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll turn it over to Mark Soroy to get us right to the hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chair Smith, and Commissioners. I'm here to present the draft 5-year consolidated plan and the 2022 annual action plan for the Community Development Program, and to request a public hearing to take comments on those plans. The board does not need to take any action today. The public was notified of the plans, and the plans were published for comment on March 17th. The 30-day comment period will end on April 11th. After the public comment period, staff will finalize the plans and incorporate all public comments, and we will present both those plans to the board for approval at a later date, possibly in May, depending on when grant funding levels are determined by HUD. There will be 3 elements to the public hearing. I'll provide a summary of the current Community Development Block Grant, the Home Program, and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program activities. I'll review the proposed 2022 Community Development Action Plan and provide an opportunity to the public to testify on the county's community development needs and the community development program performance. These grants come to us from the U.S. Housing of Urban Development Department, HUD. HUD's mission is to create strong, sustainable, inclusive communities and quality, affordable homes for all. These HUD grants support 2 of the county's performance Clackamas goals: to ensure safe, healthy, and secure communities and to build a strong infrastructure. With limited annual funding of approximately $2 million of CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant, about $1 million of home funds, and about $200,000 of Emergency Solutions Grant funds, the 2022 Action Plan and the 5-year consolidated plans have 3 priority areas. Our first priority is more affordable housing. Our second priority is addressing homelessness, and our third priority is anything not related to housing in the community development areas, such as sidewalks and infrastructure. These plans have 6 broad goals. The first goal is affordable housing units. Get more of them built. Do everything we can to support that. Housing rehabilitation. Preserve our existing affordable housing stock and homeowner stock. We provide public services to low-income people to get services so they can stay self-sufficient. We provide homeless assistance to build facilities and expand services. We provide public facility improvements such as food banks and senior centers to serve people, low-income persons. And we support community infrastructure projects, sidewalks, ADA ramps, and other projects in low-income communities. The county CDBG program partners with cities through intergovernmental agreements to include their population in the county's population, which is part of the formula that HUD uses to determine our funding levels. We also partner with cities and nonprofits to complete these projects and services. When we fund a project, we never fund the whole project. We always have a partner, and they pay a portion of that project. Over the years, CDBG has either built or remodeled every senior center in this county.
Wow.
Just so you know. We've been, again, part of the project, not the full funding, but with the community, we got those senior centers built. For our public engagement process for this particular year, our process started back in October and November of 2021 when we had some public meetings. We talked about the needs in the community. Then we released our applications, and we collected those applications in December. And those applications will all be part of the 2022 plan that I'll present to you when it's finalized later on. And we did publish that notice of funding availability in all the county newspapers, and this public hearing is part of that process.
Okay.
So projects we recently completed with CDBG, we completed Estacada Main Street and 6th Avenue ADA crossing. We also completed the Estacada Senior Center, a new HVAC system. 6 new units were installed on the roof of that project, of that facility. We've completed ADA ramps in the city of Sandy, and our housing rehabilitation program, which is a program that we run internally, over the last 2 years has completed 26 home access grants. And those grants are to private individuals in their home, elderly and disabled, to help them modify their home so they can access their restroom and facilities and access the home. And that helps them stay safe and secure in their home and preserves that. We've also helped low-income homeowners with 10 low-interest loans. So we provide 2 advisors who go meet with the homeowners. They try to figure out what's going on, what's eligible. First, we determine that they are, in fact, low income, so that's a process. And then we work with those homeowners to put those projects out to bid, have the homeowner select a contractor, and then make sure that work gets done according to our specifications. So that's what we do in our housing rehabilitation program. We also run this same program for the North Clackamas renewal area. They have some funding and that they want to invest in the North Clackamas renewal area, so they refer us people to do housing rehabilitation work in the North Clackamas renewal area. We have 2 rehab advisors, and we work with homeowners all over the county, from Eagle Creek to Lako to Estacada, Milwaukee, Molalla, Oak Grove, Rhododendron, and West Lynn. So we're all over the county with that program. So our current activities that we have going now is the ADA ramps in Gladstone. You may have seen that. We're also working on the Sandy City Hall to make sure they have ADA access so people can get in and out of that comfortably. We're also working to finish the Clackamas Volunteers in Medicine project at the community college. And then we're going to work with the Clackamas Service Center Homeless Shelter facility to expand that facility.
Wow.
Again, with CDBG COVID funds. And we're also in the process of beginning a Head Start expansion project in Estacada as well. They've got a little red house that we're going to expand so they can serve more kids there. For our home program, which we've been running, by the way, since 1994, we've invested home funds in over 40 affordable housing projects. And we monitor those projects every year. We have to know that it's still going, that who it's being run by. So that's our annual monitoring that we have to do every year. We've been trying to coordinate that a little bit with the state, streamline compliance, but so we're monitoring that every year. And then we've also, in the past, with home funds, we've helped 50 homeowners purchase a home, low-income homeowners. We had to discontinue that program, though, because the housing market just went a little crazy, and we couldn't nail down a price anymore, and we didn't have enough. We were helping with $10,000, and that just didn't work out anymore. So we've discontinued that, but we still monitor. We have to know that those people are still living in those homes that we helped them buy. And some recent home-funded projects are the Fuller Road project, which I believe you're aware of, and the Webster Road project. So we've invested home funds in those projects, and guess what? We'll be monitoring those projects for the next 20 years. Almost? All right, so the next portion of our work is the Emergency Solutions Grant. So normally we get about $200,000 a year with this project, but with COVID funding, we got swamped. We got another $3 million in this ESG program. So as you know, that all that money came into us. So what we did at that point is we worked with the Emergency Operations Group, we worked with a Housing Authority, we worked with Social Services, we worked with Continuum of Care, and we put out $1.6 million in 9 contracts. So no new staff, but 9 new contracts and all those invoices. And then we put out 2 internal county agreements to fund social services and all the hotel, motel vouchers. So that was $1 million. So, and then we're hoping that, well, actually, that money goes away at June 30th. So we have those last few contracts that we're wrapping up. So we're hoping to spend all that money out. So that's our ESG program over the past year. So for the 2022 action plan, we have some proposed projects, which I'll share more in detail with you later. But some of the highlights is we'll do some street improvement projects in Milwaukee, Estacada, Malala and Oak Grove and Oregon City. We've got another project with the Clackamas Service Center to help expand their food bank. And we'll do continued funding for our housing rehabilitation program. And we also fund some services for our county's own workforce training program. It's called Employment Investments. So we've got some money going to that program as well to get disabled adults into good-paying jobs. So those are the kind of things that we do with CDBG funds. For our home funds, we haven't identified a project yet, but we'll keep working in the community. And those home funds tend to really just cap off a project because all the other funding needs to be in place before we can come forward with our home funds. And for our emergency solutions grant, we're working to shift that into all of the other homeless services activities that the county does to coordinate that. So that's what we'll be doing. I'd be happy to answer any questions about our activities, and we can open up to the public hearing. And I have received 2 letters of testimony, which I believe I've submitted to staff here.
Thank you very much. Before we continue, I'm going to call on County Administrator Gary Schmidt.
Thank you. So, Mark, can you just confirm from the commissioners, they are not approving anything today. They are simply hearing from the public, and you will come back to them at a policy session to finalize this agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, commissioners, our apologies. Your script is incorrect. There is no motion for you to make today. This is simply an update and then a public hearing for you to hear feedback from the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, for that clarification. I will now open it up to board discussion. Commissioner Savas, you're up first.
Yeah, I just think that one of my big pleasant surprises coming on the commission 11, 12 years ago was learning more about this program. Great program, goes to communities and low-income levels, census tracts, so forth, that where they really need it. And it gives these communities a lift. And the fact that it's spread out across the county, and I know you guys do a great job of making sure it's spread out and working with our communities is just great. Always enjoy this opportunity and hear the reports. So kudos, great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm just going to go down the line. I'm not sure. Commissioner Schroeder, you're up.
Yeah, great work, guys. Do fantastic things here, particularly when it's such a high need right now. But I got one clarifying question. So we have our own employment generally program for barriered and disabled folks. And how do you integrate that with our workforce board? Is there any connection with how you folks?
That's run through the Children, Family, and Community Connections program, and they have an employment investment program, so we fund a portion of their work, and I believe they're working hand in hand with the Workforce Investment Board. But
yeah, they're really tied at the hip. Even the director of CFCC, Community Children and Families, is on the board of CWP. You know, I was previously on the board, so we keep a connection from that level. But on a day-to-day basis, the day-to-day work, they're in conversations. They meet together to make sure that all the workforce issues are coordinated and aligned.
Thanks. I'm really glad that's happening. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Schroeder. Commissioner Fisher.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Smith. Happy to hear about all the great work and all those projects. It's pretty great. I'm also happy to hear about streamlining our different silos so that we can integrate and be more effective in our service delivery. That's really awesome as well. Simple question. I went through the materials. I did not see the testimony that was submitted online. I'm not sure where we will find that. So I guess that's a Gary question.
We'll take care of that and send that to you, commissioners.
Okay.
there should be a letter from the City of Sandy and a letter from the Clackamas County Children's Commission.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll look forward to reading those. It's always great to hear from members of the community about how our efforts affect them. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Scholl.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Soros. There's a big need and limited funding. Do you feel that the proposed Community Development Consolidated Action Plan will provide help to the most people in the best and most efficient way in order to ensure that the people of Clackamas County get the most out of every community service and housing dollar?
Commissioner Scholl, I do feel that we are aligning with all of the other county services and they would work well together. I think that if we were off independent on our own, that would not be the case, but because we are aligning with all of the housing authority activities, all of social services activities, I think we are providing a good service, and they're getting the most service out of those federal funds. And again, we use these federal funds, but we also ask community partners to put money into it as well. So it really is a partnership with the projects in particular.
Okay, thank you.
Did I hear this correctly? Did you say normally one particular fund has $200,000 in it, but because of COVID, the federal government upped it to $3 million?
Correct, Madam Chair. That was a one-time
Right.
COVID money. That was the Emergency Solutions Grant. And those are the funds that actually expire. We had 2 years to spend that money, and everything expires at June 30th.
Okay, and you have places for that money to go.
Yes, that's all in contracts, and most of it's been spent already, so we're just,
I also found it interesting when you mentioned you had some construction projects in the pipeline, but you couldn't control costs because bids were escalating and you couldn't figure out what the landing point on these bids were because of inflation. Is that correct?
yes, that happens with construction contracts, and this particular environment, as you all know, with supply chain issues and labor shortages, it is really difficult to get a construction.
And what were those projects?
So there
Were
was.
they single-family residences?
No,
Okay,
no,
they were.
not those. But we have noticed some of the costs going up. For instance, the price of HVAC systems, for instance, have gone way up. So that really limits what we can do with those homes.
I'm trying to ask the question. What projects did you halt because the prices were going up so fast? You don't remember? That's okay. That's fine. I thought you made that statement. Okay, very much. Gary, do I now open the public hearing?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing for public testimony. I will take the first person in the room to testify on this. I don't see any blue cards for this testimony. Tony, do we have anybody online who would like to testify?
I do not have anyone registered for this topic. If anyone is on Zoom but did not have a chance to register ahead of time, please select the raise hand feature. I will call on them in the order received. Madam Chair, I do not have any raised hands.
Thank you, Tony. I will now close the public hearing on this matter. Stephen Madcore, what's next on the process?
Mark, do you have a date for when you're going to present to the board for your policy session, or you'll inform us later?
We don't have a date yet because HUD has not announced the actual grant levels yet. So once we get those, then we will finalize the plan and come back to you and set a date at that time.
Very good. You're still in the public comment period right now as well?
That public comment period ends April 11th.
Got it. So this is just informative for the board, no action necessary for you.
Great, thank you. Your information was really interesting. Thank you for coming forward and doing this, and thank you for all your hard work, both of you, on these. We're leveraging amazing funds, and it's appreciated not just by us, but all the recipients who get to use this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Gary, what's next?
Thank you. Next, Chair, is the consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of grant amendment number 6 to a federal subrecipient grant agreement with Ant Farm Incorporated for rent assistance services. Total amendment value, $547,000. Funding from U.S. Department of Treasury through a CARES Act grant via the Consolidated Appropriations Act Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Funds. No county general funds are involved. Social Services. Number 2, approval of grant amendment number 1 to a federal subrecipient grant agreement with Northwest Family Services for rental assistance services. This amendment adjusts fund sources and extends the term of the agreement through June 30th, 2022. Grant value remains at $325,297. Portions of state and community development block grant funding are reduced and replaced with funding from federal emergency rental assistance funds. No county general funds are involved. Social services. Transportation and development. Number 1, approval to apply for a raised discretionary transportation grant to replace the bridge across the Bull Run River. $11,509,700 in grant funds will be requested. Matching funds in the amount of $2,877,425 will be provided from the county road use funds. Weyerhaeuser will contribute $10,000 towards this project. No county general funds are involved. Number 2, approval of a contract with Carter and Company Incorporated for the Canby-Markham Highway Bear Creek Bridge project. Total contract value is $1,711,843.60. State-funded local project program funds will contribute $1,536,037.26, and county road funds will contribute the remaining $175,806.34. No county general funds are involved. County Council. Review, consideration, and approval of the 2022 revised fare management agreement with the Fair Board.
Thank you, Tony, for reading that in. Does any commissioner wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second?
Commissioner Scholl has moved for approval of the consent agenda, and Commissioner Schroeder has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, please take the poll.
Commissioner Schroeder.
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl.
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, commissioners. Up next is public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public comment at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. However, we will not be reading them at this business meeting due to time constraints. I will now open the meeting for public testimony. I will take those in the room in person first, and I have one card so far, and that is Les Poole. Please come forward, state your name, area of residence, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good to be back. I want to compliment Rod Cook. I think he's doing a very good job. He seems to be more accessible. I'm not involved in I'm involved in a number of things, as many of you know, but that's not my area of expertise. But I like what I see, and I like the block grant programs. We just heard how it's working on a local level in Estacada. And I know with block grants, it's not the same as a large, I'll call it a monstrous project like the Webster Road project where they're converting a building. And as we've seen in the past on some of those big projects, they're design build. Some of them have been rushed, and they've been financial quagmires. We're not building affordable housing when it costs an astronomical amount to construct a single unit. But again, I'm fully supportive of what we heard today, and kudos to Mr. Cook and his staff. Also, a shout out to the Grange. Great people. They are the folks that provide the awesome pies at the fair. So when you go to the fair and you have awesome homemade pie, it's from the Grange. So looking forward to August. Between now and then, there's lots to be done. Last week, I mentioned the budget. I mentioned unsustainable budgets being approved. And in her closing comments at the end of the meeting, Commissioner Fisher sort of danced around it. But the bottom line is we need to elect people that are going to be careful with our money. And I'll say no more on the subject. The other thing on my mind is, of course, Metro. Metro is always on our minds. Anyone that's really involved in government in Clackamas County understands how powerful Metro is. And kind of ironic, driving up 213 up the hill, the last 2 days, they've had the lanes closed. Metro is attempting to open Newell Creek Canyon, the park and everything, and yet they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, ironically, cleaning up homeless camps. And the homeless issue is tied into everything we're doing, and probably every issue that I could bring up, it's somehow integrated. And when it comes to how we address homelessness, I think that we can only expect so much from the government. And I think it goes back to the community to really address that in a more Grange-like manner, if I could call it that. So let's all keep our eyes on Metro between now and August, when we have pie at the fair. And hopefully this year there'll be a commission meeting out there. That's always good. The 4-H folks come up, and having a board meeting at the fair is just one of the neat things that we can do. Thank you, as always.
Thank you. I don't see any other blue cards at this time, so Tony, let's open it up to the Zoom portion of the meeting.
I have one registered participant for public comments. If you did not have a chance to register, please click the raise hand button. I will call on registered participants first, followed by raised hands in the order they appear. First is Joy Moshberger. Please state your name and residence.
Good morning. My name is Joey Moshberger. My address is 7575 Spring Hill Drive, Gladstone, 97027.
Go ahead, Joy.
Good morning, and thank you all for allowing me the time to speak with you today. My name is Joey Moshberger, as I said, and I have owned and operated Bigfoot Bed Company in Molalla for the last 6 years. We are an OLCC licensed cannabis retailer. The reason I'm with you today is to speak to you about interjurisdictional home delivery of cannabis products. Under House Bill 2519, OLCC introduced legislation that would allow dispensaries to perform home delivery within adjacent jurisdictions. In order for dispensaries to exercise this privilege, the destination jurisdiction must file an opt-in form with the state. The adjacent jurisdiction in our case is Clackamas County. As you can see from the supporting documents, home deliveries in unincorporated Clackamas County would benefit a number of people that cannot currently be reached by home delivery. Our current delivery zone includes a population of approximately 10,228 people. The Molalla zip code encompasses 15,113 people. That's an additional 4,885 residents that live outside the city limits of just Molalla, who cannot access home delivery options at this time. Clackamas County has a larger elderly population than the national average. These are some of the most likely citizens to need home delivery of cannabis products. Interjurisdictional delivery would not just benefit us. Approximately 60% of Clackamas County residents live in unincorporated areas and are therefore excluded from home delivery at this time. Additional delivery zones across the county will result in additional sales and therefore extra tax revenue for the city, county, and state. We have been in business for 6 years with no violations and no fines from OLCC. We take compliance very seriously, and we are confident that we can comply with the rules and laws regarding interjurisdictional home deliveries. I sincerely appreciate the time I was given to speak with you today. If you have any questions or we can provide you with any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact us.
Thank you, Joy. Tony.
I do not have any other registered participants. If you would like to testify, please raise your hand.
Seeing none, I see nobody else in the room who wants to testify. We will end the public communication portion of this meeting. Gary, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Next is Administrator Update. I'd like to use this time to share with you the good work and programs of good programs and services our county provides and the good work of our employees. First, the first paving project of 2022 that uses Community Road Fund dollars will kick off in 2 weeks in Oak Grove. It will be 1 mile of roadway in the Webster Road area that will be impacted. First, our staff will upgrade curb ramps at a couple of spots to make them Americans with Disabilities Act compliant. After that, paving will begin in June. Later this summer, 2 other projects in urban unincorporated areas will begin. 1 mile in the McLaughlin Road area of Oak Grove and 1 mile of the King Road area in Happy Valley, all using Community Road Fund dollars for pavement projects. Next, the chair of the Hamlet of Beaver Creek, Tammy Stevens, has offered some very nice words again about a member of our staff, and this time it is Trent Wilson of Public and Government Affairs. In his role coordinating the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee, or C4, Trent provides main staff support for that committee. That committee it includes all of our cities, special districts, community planning organizations, and hamlets, and it helps coordinate and provide cooperation between our organizations on issues related to transportation, housing, and other topics. Trent staffs that committee. Tammy wrote about Trent. He is another one of your county stars. Trent Wilson is responsive, thorough, supportive, and always on top of all issues. We couldn't be connected within the community without him. So thank you, Trent, for your outstanding service, and Tammy for recognizing our staff. That is my update today, Chair. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Gary Schmidt, for the administrator update. We will now go to Commissioner communication. Up first is Commissioner Schroeder.
Well, thanks, Chair Smith, and good morning, colleagues. I wanted to share some news with you. I've been invited by the National Association of Counties to speak before the U.S. International Trade Commission hearing on distributional effects of trade and trade policy on U.S. workers, and I'll be doing that on April 19th of this year. It'll, for me, probably be a 3:30 a.m. in the morning meeting because I will be with my daughter and grandchild, so on the East Coast it'll be. Good. So it looks like it'll be an all-nighter. I'll feel like I'm back in college at this point. But one of the things they asked us to talk about is what are some of the foreign investments and exports from Clackamas County, and what is some of the impacts of that? So I wanted to share some of that with you today. We are a well-positioned region that is competitive, sustainable, and globally integrated economic region through its focus on economic growth, export, and foreign direct investment. The greater region is home to more than 100 foreign-owned companies that employ more than 60,000 workers. Clackamas shares in this success with more than 40 owned companies in the county. The top investors in these industries include metal and manufacturing, high-tech, and agriculture and food processing. The top foreign investor countries are Japan, Germany, Canada, and the United Kingdom. So one of the things that we do is we want to attract international businesses to our county because that helps economic growth. Now I have data that I wanted to share, which is the Port Import-Export reporting services through the Port of Portland. And I found out that 9 Clackamas-based exporters shipped through the port, and 120 importers brought product into the United States via ocean carrier. These 9 exporters were responsible for 1,564 containers of shipped product. The larger exporter, Pacific Seafood Group, which is based here in Clackamas County, exported to over 44 global markets with major shipments headed to Asia and Africa. Clackamas importers brought in more than 2,335 containers of products in 2017. The top 5 importers based here in Clackamas County are Warren Industries, Cornell Pumps, Grand and Benefits, which is store fixtures, Pacific Seafood, and Proactive Sports, golf-related equipment. Wow. Imports from China, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Vietnam were among the top suppliers, with other imports coming from India, Netherlands, and Poland. Now, one of the things I want to mention, we're talking about the larger traded sector, import-export, but I also wanted to make it clear of what this does for small business, because really, small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy. We all know that. But small businesses that export grow faster, add jobs faster, and pay higher wages, accounting for 98% of all identified U.S. exporters and supporting nearly 4 million jobs in the communities across America through both direct and indirect exports. Top export destinations for U.S. small businesses include Canada, Mexico, China, Japan, and the United Kingdom. So one of the things that we are interested in is helping our small businesses here in this county is how do they move to that next level. And as we work to, I think, reinvigorate our economic development convening opportunities, because that's really, government doesn't create the jobs as much as business is creating these jobs and this prosperity and its wealth. But we have a job where we can actually provide the space whereby these conversations happened. For example, we actually hosted 2 economic development forums back in the day. I think the last one was in 2019. We talked to the United States Department of Agriculture, and this was with Representative David Brock Smith. And because we hosted a forum here in this county dealing with agricultural exports, Mr. Smith was able to, or Representative Smith at the time, or no, Commissioner Smith is now Representative Smith at the time, was able to connect to the right contacts to get a rule change at the federal level so we could now export basically frozen strawberries out to the Asian market. So those kinds of connections, if we can make them here, we can grow them here, and we can help our small businesses by working with our chambers of commerce through education and information sharing, and work them up so they can actually join the larger global economy and the global markets. And now that COVID is over, I'm hopeful that it's time that we can continue this kind of work as conveners with the specialists, particularly Cindy, who I talked to yesterday, who helped provide all this information, and that we are actually going to be featured as Clackamas County at this event, as well as providing information as how we used our ARPA dollars to fund economic recovery. We are joining other counties across the nation with our narratives and our stories, and I think that I'm glad I have everybody's support because we want to bring prosperity and jobs to our community. One last thing I'd like to talk about, because the Grange was here today. I think one of the questions we all have to ask ourselves, and I'm going to put this on my little line of Schroeder made-up quotes. Okay, we have to always ask ourselves, does it foster good citizenship? And when I think about citizenship, I think about service and involvement and how we work together in community together. Because we all know that citizenship confers upon us as Americans rights, freedom, liberty, the ability to do, to succeed on your own. But with those rights, I always say, remember, we also have citizenship responsibilities, and that is to care for one another, to be beneficent toward one another, to help people less fortunate. Those 2 things are really what I think Chair Smith talked about American exceptionalism at one point. To me, those 2 traits of our country and our citizens combined is what makes us so great. And so we have to keep all of that in mind as we practice good citizenship. Thank you to the Grange. You have practiced good citizenship for over 100 years and taught young people and other folks how to be good citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting comments, Commissioner Schroeder. Commissioner Fisher, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Smith. What a wonderful town hall we had last night, hearing from many residents. I think there were over 77 people participating in our town hall. And really for us, listening and connecting to our constituents is so important. But one thing I did want to share today are Clackamas County issues an advisory regarding fentanyl and opioid overdoses. I'm sure all of us looked at our Clacco news this morning, and many of the articles were about Clackamas County and fentanyl overdoses. I just want to share some key points about this. In Oregon ranks first in the nation in prescription opioid misuse. We rank 50th in access to treatment. 18% of Oregonians are needing but not receiving treatment. Opioid-related hospitalizations due to overdose in Clackamas County have increased 18% from 2020 to 2021. And most alarming is that the confirmed fentanyl deaths in Clackamas County increased 89% from 2020 to 2021. The problem is a crisis, and there is an immediate call for action. Our county has been one of the leaders in regards to focusing on accountability for pharmaceuticals. We have sued the pharmaceuticals. Other counties, other jurisdictions from around the state joined in. We are now poised to receive over $13 million over the next several years to deal with this crisis. But people may say, well, what is county government going to do? How are we set to address this problem? Because the problem is so terrible. And I speak from this personally. My son grew up with a friend that he stayed connected with through college, stayed connected with out of college. And this young man had an overdose, was saved from that overdose, and then he later took one of these fentanyl-laced opioids, and he lost his life. So the personal impact, I'm sure that everybody, just about everybody, has a personal story when it deals with the opioid and drug crisis. So what are we going to do? Well, the framework for substance use disorder is many forms of treatment are funded through insurance. You go to your doctor, you get set up with services, you get evaluation, treatment, and those are all billable services. The wait time for many of those services is far too long, and that is because of a lack of capacity of trained workers and the desperate need to expand the capacity for substance use disorder treatment. In Clackamas County, as part of this, we have been very innovative and centered and focused on what we can do in collaboration. Some of our programs are Quest WISH program, which is a non-opioid chronic pain multidisciplinary integrated care team that includes mentoring, acupuncture, wellness exercises, nutrition, support groups. This program serves people not covered by the Oregon Health Plan or other insurance that will pay for services. Another program that I know we're all familiar with because we've been on ride-alongs with our community paramedic is Project Hope, which is a collaboration of community partners. And when someone struggles with an overdose, our community paramedic goes out, does some intensive case management and support, and to really work to support that person in their recovery. Our LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program, employs outreach, intensive case management, system navigation, and reduces barriers for services and supports the individuals that choose to engage in care coordination. And that diverts people, diverts them from the criminal justice system. We have the Justice Investment through Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, which has developed diversion strategies that target incarcerated individuals eligible for early release to treatment. We also have our H3S, which is Health, Housing, and Human Services Opioid Prevention and Response Initiative, where our program staff are working diligently, leading efforts that address the impact of opioids through our community through primary intervention, harm reduction, access to treatment, and recovery. And then we can't forget PreventNet, which focuses on prevention within our schools to address the problem before it starts. So what will Clackamas County be doing with its $13.7 million? We have a system and a framework. We have just been terribly underfunded. So we will be able to use these resources with our community partners to address the issue. Now, the elephant in the room. We have Measure 110 that the voters of Oregon passed. It diverts the marijuana revenue that is supposed to go to the state to be distributed to counties, or not necessarily to counties, not to county government, but to entities within regions to address substance use disorder. We're seeing that decriminalizing drugs, which means if you have possession of some drugs, you get a fine, a ticket, or you can go for a drug and alcohol evaluation and treatment. We are finding, the data is showing that Measure 110 is not working. People are not choosing to go into drug and alcohol evaluation and treatment. So I want to call on my fellow commissioners. We can be a strong voice. We can work on this. We can have some policy sessions. We can study up. We can ask our government and public affairs team to be part of the solution with the state, because our legislators, yes, they do represent people of Clackamas County, but we are the ones, rubber meets the road, and we are the ones that are dealing with these problems at the local level. So let's use our collective knowledge. I know we are aligned on this. We've talked about it. We care about it. And we together can make a difference with the state in trying to fix these laws that don't work for us in Clackamas County.
Finished? Yes. Thank you. Good points, Commissioner Fisher. I would agree with you on all of them. Very interesting comments. Commissioner Schultz, you're up.
Yes, good morning, Clackamas County. On tolling, in the last few weeks, we've had commissioners at the Joint Policy Advisory Committee on Transportation, that was Commissioner Savas, and at the Metro Policy Advisory Committee, that was myself, where we stood up for the concerns of the people and businesses of Clackamas County on this tolling issue. But ODOT insists that tolling is still on its way to Clackamas County and I-205. At this time, there are many questions from our cities, the county, and our residents that still have not been answered by Salem. And we're concerned that if and when tolling begins, it's going to be a real cost burden on our people and our businesses in Clackamas County. And I ask every citizen in the county to be aware and informed, look at the ODOT, the county, and the Metro websites, be vocal, and together we cannot give up the fight against tolling. On the Children's Center, this, as you might already know, is Child Abuse Prevention Month. But last Friday at the Children's Center in Oregon City, there was a celebration of Child Abuse Prevention Month and their 20th anniversary in operation. It was a very nice event, and I'm happy to say that the Children's Center is a real wonderful nonprofit that's helping the people of this county. Their mission is to work with the community to end child abuse and neglect through assessment, treatment, and prevention. Again, they're a nonprofit, so please see their website and see how you might be able to help them and our kids. And thanks again to everybody who works at the Children's Center for all you do for Clackamas County. Also related to protecting our children, like Commissioner Fisher just mentioned, this fentanyl issue is a horrible, looming threat to our kids. We've seen some of our young students die from fentanyl overdoses, where they took a pill that appeared to be something else, maybe an Oxycontin pill that was laced with fentanyl, and it took their lives. Education is a key, and I want to remind you again that the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office has done a wonderful video to inform you on this issue called No Second Chances, Brandon's Story. Parents, I'm going to keep saying this until this threat goes away. Please sit down with your kids, talk to them about this threat, and look at that video together, please. On the town hall last night, I was very happy that we had a large participation. in the town hall where citizens had their opportunity to present whatever issue was on their mind. And I look forward to the next town hall. And for those of you who have not joined us on a town hall, be thinking about a topic or two that's a concern to you, and please join us on the next one. On citizen involvement in government. You know, I've been a commissioner for 15 months, and what I found is that whenever we have a large number of residents express their concerns on an issue, that has a tendency to propel that issue into the spotlight for action. So I encourage every citizen of the county to look at one or two issues that are on your mind and present them at the county, the city, your state legislature, and your representatives to the U.S. Congress. Make your voices known. It makes a big difference. And finally, I want to talk to all the kids in Clackamas County who are toddlers up to the age of 10. On Saturday, April 16th, at Mining Park in Sandy, is the annual Easter egg hunt. Bring your Easter basket and get ready to have a good time. And children, make sure you bring your mom and dad with you because you have to be accompanied by an adult. And that's sponsored by the Kiwanis Club of Sandy. I'll be there, and I won't have an Easter basket, but I'm going to be watching you kids have a good time. And for the quote of the day, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. That comes from Mark Twain. And it's a reminder for us to look at what's presented as the truth and double check it. And thank you all, and enjoy the sunshine.
Thank you, Commissioner Scholl. Commissioner Savas, you're up.
Yeah, great comment, Commissioner Schultz. Those things sometimes happen more often around election season than they do any other time. Just a couple things I just wanted to say before I really get to what I really wanted to talk about today, and that is that I was reminded here this morning, we were talking about Granges, we heard about community centers, and we had our CDBG folks talking about some of the good work they're doing. You know, there are needs for community centers, and I know that one of them in particular that is kind of languishing out there is the Concord Community Center in the Oak Grove Jenny's Lodge area, and the demographics have changed pretty significantly in that community. The census tracts are showing high levels of poverty. There's really great need in an area where there's really no opportunity for nearby or walkable or even reasonably drivable transit-oriented anything to get people to the community center. So there's this vacuum right there, and so you know, I really appreciate the board and the chair putting on the agenda the quarterly, you know, next to be quarterly NCPRD meetings. That's great. I do think, and I really want to put on the topics for issues on Tuesday, you know, how we explain the budget situation or the monetary situation of what was to be for the community center there, the $20 million that people are under the assumption that disappeared, that really didn't disappear. I think there needs to be greater explanation and preparation for the budget, which is right around the corner, similar to what we do with our budget committee in preparation for the NCPRD budget committee before that opportunity strikes. So I think it's important to, number one, clear up what happened and then where we're going. But I would ask, and I'll prepare something for issues on Tuesday for the sake of the community center. What I wanted to talk about, and I appreciate Commissioner Fisher's comments with regard to, you know, mental health and also everyone else's comments regarded to whether it's fentanyl or drug alcohol abuse or mental health facilities and all the great work and the systems that are being put in place with the dollars we have. Don't disagree that Measure 110 has been a disaster. I think it didn't really have a lot of thought process put in it. And we heard last night, and we constantly hear, and you've heard me say that there really is a need for everything that Commissioner Fisher described, but even more so And I can speak this from personal experience with friends and family of mine who, needed really a mental health facility, needed a stay in a facility, whether that be 5 days or 10 days or longer, sometimes to get stabilized and have that direct treatment and the monitoring. On the drug alcohol addictions, there are situations where people need to be detoxed, whether that's 30 days or more. Some of those have all three conditions, whether it's drug, alcohol, and mental health facilities or issues. So this region, we once had Damish here in Clackamas County. I know there was some controversy around that. I think the state had really stepped back from investing in mental health treatment. And that's a shame because now we are last in the country for that. And when we talk about resources for that, we hear that the state is awash in money, and yet there's no investment in that. They're not making a serious commitment. And here we are with this publicly, in the news saying we're awash in cash in the state legislature and no investment in mental health or drug alcohol treatment centers. I think that's a shame. I don't understand that. We have the supportive housing services monies, which are starting to roll in, and it'll be rolling in more significantly. And there's no effort there to really invest in a facility or facilities that would take care of that. Certainly, there's dollars for the services that have been outlined that Commissioner Fisher spoke to, a few of them. Granted, they're needed. I think they're effective, but we need both. We need all the above, and we need the facilities. And we're not going to really make a serious impact on homelessness until we get a facility stood up that actually serves those particular needs. Recently, you've heard about a measure that's being put forth that's going to challenge the 26-210. And there, too, they want to apportion 75% of the dollars towards shelters, but no investment, again, in mental health or supportive housing, mental health or drug alcohol treatment centers. That must be addressed, whether it's state or whether it's a combination of, but we just can't have the locals of this region saying, oh, that's a state problem, and then the state doing nothing when it's awash in cash. So I really think, and I appreciate Commissioner Fisher's suggestion that we look at one another and work with one another and take a stand, but I think we need to take a more sensible, a more complete stand on that. And I'm just hoping that we can make some traction there. It was great to hear from the folks last night during the town hall. So that's what I have for today, and I'll conclude my comments there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. This week I attended the Aurora Aviation Airport State Commission PAC Board, and our charge is to stay in compliance with the national aviation standards and upgrade and go ahead with the master plan. And I was asked to be on this commission, although this airport is located in Marion County. Many of the pass-through economic dollars, there's a greater economic benefit to Clackamas County than there is to Marion County, because most of the businesses that service this place are located in Clackamas County. And besides that, if you've ever delved into airplanes and aviation, quote, science, some of this stuff is very technical. And I sat probably for 3 hours on this meeting, and I know this will be a shock to some. I did not say a word because I'm thinking, through the door, through the fence, on airport, and all of these technical kind of slang terms that really mean something in the aviation world. And then they're going through 16 pages of different types of aircraft, but each aircraft has about 3 or 4 different names, and all these guys know all the different names to one single aircraft. And it's really been an amazing education experience for me. I'll just stick to buying my commercial ticket and then boarding and landing and heading for the sun and sand. But I do appreciate these people. This is a very necessary project that needs to be done. Next Thursday, we will recess or adjourn this meeting early to deliver our State of the County address hosted by the North Clackamas County Chamber of Commerce at the Monarch Hotel. Anybody is invited. And Gary, will it streamed or recorded?
It will be recorded. It will not air live.
Okay.
There's a charge if you wish to eat lunch, but if you want to attend for free without food, it is free.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. Commissioner Safis makes mention of the budget, and I'm somebody who has really been trying to pay attention to our dollars. And at the outside, people looking in would say, yeah, we're awash with cash. We have the ARPA dollars, we have these dollars, we have these dollars. And I'm very sensitive to projects going forward where the county is in the position of either funding them up to 100% and/or providing bonding payments to them as well. I think that puts our general fund budget in jeopardy going forward on some projects. We do have some really exciting projects, however, that have 50% to almost 70% cash on hand to move forward. I would encourage my commissioners to take a look at what those projects are and give feedback to either Gary or myself on what you think should happen. We do really not have the ability to fund all of the requests coming forward. Last night, there was an interesting comment at one of our town halls. A gentleman called up, and he gave us a laundry list of about 20 items. You need to do this and this and this and this, and most of them were not county functions. And he says, if you can't pay for them, go tax the wealthy people in the county. And I thought that was an amazing statement, since we do not have the ability to tax people. And if we want to raise property taxes, which is our only venue, we need to send it to a vote of the people. And so we just can't tax and spend like maybe our legislature does. Last night at the town hall, there were some emerging themes. It was an open-ended town hall. Some emerging themes came through, and the commissioners all noted those, and I thank people for commenting on that. Seeing no further business before the board, we are adjourned.